George. There's so many great dynamic duos in the league right now. What about, 5 years from now? We're gonna take a look. So I think this is gonna be kind of fun. Talking about players, player potentials, where they could be if they, stay together, how good they will be. I think it'll be kind of fun. So make sure you slap a like on the video before you start relaxing. Subscribe to the channel. I think we're pretty close to 5.5k already, which is super crazy. So thank you guys so much for still continuing, the push to 10k whenever that comes. Yesterday I did post a video. I posted a Star Wars Battlefront gameplay video on the PS5. So if you're a fan of Star Wars Battlefront, there's a video on it for the PS5, and then I posted double upload day, part 2 or episode 2, of the Our League series. So if you're a fan of that or want to get into it, make sure you check out that video as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and let's finally get started. Taking a look at number 10 on this list, it's actually an article that I found, stumbled upon when I sort of came up with this idea. And this dynamic duo, we can think of others at the end of the video. There's, some honorable mentions, but this one is actually very interesting. And it's actually the pairing of, at least this is in 5 years from now, the pairing of Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo in the Miami Heat. So I think right now the 22 and 20-year-old, I almost said rookies, but they're not even rookies anymore, sophomore players from the Miami Heat. Well, I guess Bam isn't, but Tyler Hero definitely is, are going to be, in 5 years, one of the top duos in the league. Do I believe this? I think yes. Obviously, you can't, you don't know who else is coming down the line, what other teams are going to be assembled, dismembered. This is going based off of, right now, in today's NBA. So I really do. Obviously, Bam Adebayo in himself is an amazing player, and that's definitely the one who's probably carrying. No offense to Tyler Hero, no, he's definitely carrying the sort of dynamic duo part of everything. I like Tyler Hero, again, one of the most overrated players I've ever seen. Sort of skyrocket to stardom, which is super crazy. I think he's definitely a good player, but people are picking him to be, an all-star, this, that, and the other, which definitely could happen, but I guess we'll just have to see. But definitely a very cool pick at number 10. Defensively, Bam Adebayo is an absolute genius on the defensive end, especially being a undersized big man. It's pretty cool to watch him sort of go to work and play against these other super tall 7-foot giants. He's really well. He holds his own, which is really cool. And then you have Tyler Hero, sort of the scoring genius that he already is. He actually does have a lot of good potential, being a good perimeter player. Pretty scrappy defender, not a great one, but scrappy. He'll get in front of his man, tries very best. That's all you can really ask for, and definitely has a lot of potential. So, plus being only 20 and 22, like these guys have, in 5 years from now, Bam Adebayo at 27, dude, in his prime. That's terrifying to think about. So, that's not a bad pick for number 10. This, in my opinion, might be kind of low, but at number 9, they have Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. Wow. At number 9, I mean, I can think of like a lot of really good young players right now, but yeah, come on, like that's well, actually, now that I think about it, definitely that the potential I don't think is respect if you can get straight up traded for Kevin Durant. Like, I think you're doing good for yourself and your career. I really like him there on the Timberwolves with Cat. I think that's a great duo. Although Karl Anthony Towns can't stay healthy, knock on wood, he had his wrist dislocated, I think. So once he comes back, that team's going to be again very, very, very good. Especially with the players they have right now, the Koki and Culver and the number 1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards. That team's looking good in 5 years from now with this dynamic duo still there. Bright things I think could definitely happen for that team for sure, for sure. Next up at number 8, we have oh wow, only at 8. That's crazy. They have Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. That is wow. Well, again, thinking about this logically, 5 years from now, we all know that Devin Booker is still a very young player, but still 5 years from now is 5 years from now. He'll probably still be an amazing player. Ayton's definitely a younger player as well. Definitely need to see where he goes. But man, I feel like that's super low for a guy in Devin Booker who's already, a top 3 shooting guard in the NBA. I'm trying to think of him. Beal, Harden. Wow, actually maybe not. Maybe top 5 because there's Harden and there's Beal. Yeah, like I said, Luka's technically a shooting guard. Some other players I can probably think of off the top of my head, but he's definitely top 5 shooting guard in the NBA right now. So 5 years from now, he'll definitely be in even more of his prime. I think right now we're seeing a very great play from him. Could it get better? Again, defense is really all you can think of. Being a better facilitator, he's already a good one, but being a better passer would be good. Other than that, like, Devin Booker's a great player. This is probably more on like the side of DeAndre Ayton and his sort of will on defense that shows sometimes lack thereof, which kind of sucks. But on the offensive end, Ayton, it looks like a player who can almost carry an offense. Like if Ayton was drafted in the 90s, he would be, the number 1 option on the team. It looks like so. He's very talented, very good footwork. I would love to see him train with like Hakeem Olajuwon or some sort of player like that that can just really, round the edges to him because it looks like he needs a little bit of help. So I think it's actually really good that Chris Paul is there to sort of battle test that team for 5 years from now when Ayton and Booker are still maybe hopefully on the team, are ready for that sort of championship aspiring team that they can sort of have. So yeah. Okay, next up at number 7. Wow, these are so crazy. That's tough. Okay, well at number 7 they have Trae Young and John Collins at 7. So you had Bam and Tyler Hero, you had Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and then now you have Trae Young and John Collins. Wow. I'm trying to think real quick. Yeah, John Collins didn't get his contract extended this past offseason. So with that being said, we might not even be able to see this sort of come into fruition because, John Collins, it doesn't really look happy there. I saw a post, an article, a suspicion, something like that on Twitter that said apparently John Collins is looking for a max contract, which if you're, a guy trying to get the max off your rookie deal, kind of like what, Donovan Mitchell just did and De'Aaron Fox just did, that just doesn't happen. You have to be like the best player on your team. And right now, no offense to John Collins, I love the guy. He's one of the best power forwards in the NBA. They have Trae Young, and Trae Young's obviously going to be getting the max off that. And having, your 2 max contracts in Trae Young and John Collins, is that a title-winning team? Who knows? Because we know how great Trae Young can be as a facilitator, floor general. Like, that's going to be a very important role that he's going to play. Of course, you give him as much money as you can. When it comes to John Collins, he's a great player, definite all-star of the future. But a player that's going to be in your team, around your team for years to come, maybe they don't need to do that. So, I think he definitely deserves a buttload of money for sure because he's a great player nonetheless. But it is sort of weird that he's looking for getting a max contract when, like, I don't know if that's very realistic, at least in my opinion. But besides the point, let's think of fantasy-wise. If they were still around together in 5 years, that would be a great duo. Would it be better than Devin Booker and Ayton? That's very arguable. And like, oh, well, what if this doesn't happen? If this doesn't happen, I think if if I'm just thinking potential-wise, I mean, Trae Young's going to be great. John Collins is already going to be great. That's really a toss-up. That might just be down to opinion, I think. Oh, wow. You know what? Dang, this is crazy. Okay, at number 6 they have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray at number 6. So that's interesting. Jokic and Murray. It says here Jokic's game should age like fine wine, as arguably the greatest passing big man of all time, who doesn't rely on elite speed or athleticism to do so. Interesting. I'm actually gonna look right now. The age of Jokic. I think he's what, like 26? Yeah, it says here Jokic is actually 25 right now. So in 5 years he'll be 30. 30-year-old Nikola Jokic. Will that be anything to look forward to? I think I'm gonna say no, because like, hey man, the dude is already grasping for a breath of air every time he's on the court, and I mean, you should be fine by then. I think his basketball game would be fine, but physically, we're really gonna have to see, because obviously big men in the NBA don't really last that long, especially at that sort of high level. Even in 30s, like, I don't really expect him to be lasting, a super long time therefore after. And then we have Jamal Murray, who is 23, he'll be 28, right in his prime. Man, that's tough. You know what? I think they will be okay. Do I think they'll be better than Trae Young and John Collins? Or even Devin Booker and Ayton? That's a very opinionated again. I'm going to take the high road, maybe, and say, again, like they said in the article, he's going to age like fine wine, and maybe everything will be okay with, like, health-wise and everything like that. Then sure, I think they could be, especially with, the great play we saw Jamal Murray in the playoffs, and the Denver Nuggets for sure. I think they're going to be a great team for years to come. They still going to be with, especially with Michael Porter Jr. and Monte Morris on that team. Those guys still develop. Freaking Bull is on that team as well. So I think they will be okay, and I think they, as a duo, will be okay as well. So, ooh, this might be controversial, because these guys are fresh in the NBA. At number 5, they have Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. at number 5. So they have Ja and Jaren over Trae and John Collins. Do you guys believe that? Let me know down in the comments. I want to know all your guys' opinions on this video down in the comments. Dang, Ja and Jaren. Wow. I'm trying to think. In 5 years, dang. I think I do believe this, only because the fact that maybe Trae Young will be a better facilitator still at that time, but bro, 5 years from now, you cannot tell me that Ja does not figure out how to get a jump shot. And if Ja gets a jump shot, bro, it might be a GG, because he might end up being the best point guard in the NBA at that time, dude. Like, if Ja can get a consistent 3-point shot, 35, 36%, maybe even 37% 3-point shooter, taking about 3 to 5 a game, like, that's dangerous, because he already has a great defensive IQ right now, and that's only going to get better with playing over time, especially 5 years from now. He's already a pretty decent facilitator on a good team. And then you look at Jaren, who's just a stretch 5 to the max that you can think of. Like, sure, maybe he's not a great ball handler as a Anthony Davis type player, but when it comes to stretching the floor, post game, defensive capability, like, he's definitely going to be up there, especially 5 years from now. So, man, yeah, I think I just talked myself into me thinking that they could be, a top 5 duo in the NBA at that time. That's crazy. It really sucks what happens, what happened to them this season with the injuries and stuff. They're going to be fine. They'll be back, obviously, in a couple weeks, but, you definitely don't want that sort of like, oh my god, we almost played the playoffs last year, we got to go for it. No, like, you guys, the Memphis Grizzlies have to slow roast this team. Y'all need to just put it at a nice 125 degrees, let this thing cook for, you know what I mean? Like, don't go too crazy with this thing. Because, man, you already have a great point guard, a great power forward. All you need is that maybe third option type player, which could be Dylan Brooks, could be Brendan Clark, that they already have on their team, or it could be a future rookie, a future signing down the road that can just skyrocket this team into, championship aspiring teams. years. So if you can get that, again, just slow roast it, just let it keep going, let it keep going. Okay, so next up we have, okay, wait, this is actually really low. Wow, okay, well at number 4, they have Zion and Brandon Ingram all the way down at 4. Well, I don't want to say all the way down because that's still top 5, but you're thinking, every sort of article I run by, Zion is always like just viewed as like God or something like that to a lot of sports writers, but for this one, ranked maybe even kind of low, in my opinion. I can think of maybe one duo better than them. I'm still waiting for another duo that they haven't said yet, which I'm kind of weirded out about, but I guess we'll see if they're on the list higher. But I mean, I guess technically for Zion, 5 years from now isn't going to be like his prime. He'll only be like, what, 25 at that point, maybe 26, maybe. Actually, I think he was 19 when he jumped in the draft, wasn't he? So he'd be 24. God, that's terrifying. He still has a long way to go, and then Brandon Ingram will probably be around his prime then, being like again an off-brand version of Kevin Durant. We've always made it sort of jokes about that, but that's definitely not a bad thing. He averages 25 to 28 points per game already. A great perimeter defender with his length. It's super crazy how well he's sort of come around at being that sort of guy. Like 17 point per game scorer, and all the way up to where he's now being arguably the best perimeter player on that team for the Pelicans, maybe even the best player on that team. You can argue that for sure with how sometimes Zion's plays, still very young and everything like that. So 5 years from now, I'll say yeah, I think so. Because man, we all know how good Zion already is. That Pelicans team is on a really, really, really high trajectory right now. Like that team could be in a year or two like a top 4 seed in the West. That team sort of builds their team the right way, which they are. They got Steven Adams now, Eric Bledsoe. Hopefully, they keep Lonzo with them not giving him an extension. He's going to be a restricted free agent this upcoming offseason. So, but yeah, I think this is a definitely good pick. Could it be higher? I guess we'll find out who is ranked above them. At number 3. Oh wow. Okay. At number 3, they have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown at number 3. Wow, this was one of the teams I was thinking about when I was thinking of this idea. Was obviously the play of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Two just dogs on the perimeter, like definitely like a Kawhi, Paul George type of play style, where it's just two guys where, I mean, how are you supposed to score against these guys? It's super crazy. Yeah, this would be a lot of fun to see 5 years from now. They are under both long-term deals, which is really cool, so we might actually be able to see this one actually happen, which is really dope. You have, Jaylen Brown this year averaging 26 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, which is just way more than I thought he would ever be averaging. And then Jason Tatum averaging 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. So you have two guys basically kind of similar play styles, but obviously Tatum is the better offensive player, and Jaylen Brown is the better defensive player, at least in my opinion, on the perimeter. So these guys are similar, but so different. It's such a good combination because it's not like Paul George and Kawhi where they play almost the same game. I mean, obviously, like Kawhi's maybe a better mid-range shooter. Other than that, they play a very similar game. With these two guys, it's super crazy how well they play together, and hopefully, they stick around for it, because I really like to watch the Boston Celtics play with these two guys. So 5 years from now, they'll for sure be in their primes by then, both these guys, and that can definitely be a duo that could win you a title. Like Jason Tatum, I think at one point in time can be the best player on a title contending team, and his second star could possibly be Jaylen Brown. I don't doubt it whatsoever. I think, yeah, this is definitely one of them, and I guess we can see who's going to be ahead of them. I can probably think there isn't a duo that has been on this list, and I kind of hope that they're not this high, or maybe they just forgot, but Simmons as the number 2 young dynamic duo in the next 5 years. Wow. Man. Do you guys think that? Do you guys think if maybe Ben Simmons gets a jump shot, Joel Embiid stays healthy, knock on wood for both of those guys for sure. I mean, well, obviously if that happened, they would be the best duo in the NBA for sure. But man, that's crazy. Do you think they will be that better than a Tatum and Jaylen Brown duo or a Jaw and Jaren duo? That's very interesting to think. I'm trying to think of some things to say bad about them, oh this or that or this or that or this or that or this or that. But like I just said, if they can just actually figure it out, and I think Doc Rivers is actually doing a very good job on that team so far. I think they have or had the best record in the East early on. They had one of the best defenses in the league for sure as well. So I think it actually could work out between the two if, again, a big if, Simmons becomes more confident and Joel Embiid healthier and sticks to his role, his guns a little bit more with being the big man, being okay with just, post game and post work and everything like that. I think that'll be a lot better for that team. So, dang man, number 2 over Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That's tough. Well, some duos I don't think are going to be on this list that I could think of that were young. One of them for sure is definitely De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley. I think De'Aaron obviously would carry that duo heavily, but I think Marvin Bagley still has some potential in the NBA. I don't know why the Kings are trying to make him a center. I hate that for him. I wish he would just play power forward for that team. Maybe he is right now, but I keep seeing in 2K and stuff, he's always a center, and it's really annoying. So that's definitely a duo. I'm trying to think of other ones. Oh man. I mean, obviously Wiseman would be a good pick, but who is he gonna be a duo with? I mean, man, you can even argue Karl-Anthony Towns with Anthony Edwards in 5 years. He's already, a 20-point per game scorer in the league, pretty decent wing defender as well. Does need a little bit of more, shot IQ, as you could, put it in 2K terms, being a little bit smarter of a player. But again, over time, 5 years from now, will be way, 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 way better than he is right now. So that could definitely be argued for, another really good duo. I'm trying to think of other ones. I'm not entirely sure, but there are probably a lot of other ones that I'm just missing off the top of my head. But let's just see who's number 1, and I'll see if they are actually on the list or not. So at number 2, you had Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. At number 1, oh my god. Okay, this duo I thought of, but definitely not at number 1. And it is Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis at number 1, the top young NBA duos in the next 5 years. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. Well, I mean, yes, of course, Luka, my god, he's already an amazing player. They are struggling very early on at the beginning of this season, which, again, not having Kristaps is why that's happening, but I'm trying to think if even a fully healthy, again, knocking on wood for Kristaps, if even a fully healthy Kristaps Porzingis and a Luka Doncic in 5 years, is that really propelling you over, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tatum Brown, Jaw Jaren? I really don't know. I mean, obviously in 5 years from now, Luka's probably going to be the best player on this entire list that we talked about. You could argue Ben Simmons or maybe some other players, but at least in my opinion, I think he's probably going to be the best player in the next 5 years with these guys. It really just comes down to Kristaps Porzingis, and I've talked about this before. I mean, if Kristaps comes back after his injury, and the Mavericks are still struggling, or Kristaps just doesn't look like the player he should be or is capable of being, bro, I think you gotta take it on the chin and just boot him out of there. You just gotta get him out of there, because you can't not waste Luka and this great play that he has on playoff wishes, playoff aspirations. That's just not good. At least in my opinion, that's not what you should do. I mean, Luka definitely has a potential set as like a LeBron James type player where Luka on his rookie year was already an amazing player. Then second year in the league, he was an MVP candidate. Now, third year in the league, he's in the runnings, top 3, maybe can win an MVP this year. So you have the Pelicans on the uprise, you have the Suns on the uprise, you have a lot of great Western Conference teams. You don't want to be stuck in the mud or in this weird moratorium where you're just stuck. So, I do love the duo of Kristaps and Luka, and it definitely could be number 1, mostly because of Luka Doncic, but it comes down to Kristaps, and if Kristaps can be that 25 to 28 point per game scorer, two blocks a game, great rebounder like what he was in New York, then yes, for sure, even before his injury, I think that's totally fine. So I don't hate this list, but wow, that is very controversial, at least in my opinion. So let's go through the list one more time. I think it was Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo at number 10. At number 9, Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. 8, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Trae Young, John Collins at 7. At 6, you had Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. 5, you had Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. At 4, you had Zion and Brandon Ingram. Man, that's tough. 3, you had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.